anything on that just can't be a administrative change? Teresa's or anything?
That was on my job description 5 years ago,
Okay.
and I took care of it, and it does make a lot of sense to have just one person doing it, and I would gladly that the next person in my seat would give that over.
There's no logistics or anything that...
Not one.
Okay, so number 7 could be a goal if we decide that tonight.
What list are you operating from?
Phase 1 recommendations.
Yeah, the original that we were given to us as a presentation.
Phase 1 recommendations.
Do you have extra copies? Otherwise I'll make sure.
They were at our desk.
This is our desk. No, blue. Right there, put your hand down. Right there.
I know this.
Right. So, keep going, Mr. Riley. I think that's a clean one, but other than that, I think you probably have some questions. And it's really only phase 1 that you could look at.
Correct. Okay, well, let's just start with number 1 and see where we're at with that. The Taylor High School schedule be adjusted to reflect the 6-period school day. Is that it? Let me ask this question. Whether or not we close a high school this coming school year, if both high schools are to remain open, would it be feasible to go to 6 hours at separate high schools? Not to say that that plan's off the table, but would it be feasible to do that? What would be the logistics of it? Could it be
Right now, we're in a holding pattern. We haven't actually started creating the schedule. So to go from a 5 to a 6-hour day would not be a huge undertaking at this point.
But if we did that, if we went from 5 to 6, we would probably have to also increase the graduation rate. That would be a combined one that would go together. Okay. Is there anything contractually that we have to do with that?
I would have to check the contract.
Okay.
Mr. Allen?
I'm just doing it from
Yes.
creating the schedule.
One thing that, I think this would answer Mrs. Stellini's question a little bit too, is one thing to note is if we go to a 6-hour day and we stay on trimesters, it needs to be really, it's really important to know that the classes that we currently have, core classes that are only 2 trimesters, because of the loss of minutes from 75 minutes to 55 minutes, they have to go to year-long classes.
Right.
So that has to be, if we're going to go to 6 hours, the social studies and science would have to go to full year classes. Otherwise, those teachers would not be able to cover the curriculum that they need to cover.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
And I think that was detailed out.
I think that
And
answers your
that's
question a
what my
little
point
bit. It's not so much that we need to extend the time to a full year because it's needed for the kids to do better on the standardized tests and to get them ready. It's more about that we're losing 20 minutes out of every single day when you go to 6 hours. So everything has to be a full year long, just like it would if we were running semesters.
But Phil, would there be additional time in those classes if they were year long, or would it be the same amount of having them 2 trimesters? It's close.
Is the curriculum going to be different?
No.
No. And that was discussed, and Mr. Riley, you can, and I think Mr. Miller was here, when we talked about going to trimesters, there were the core curriculum, many teachers saying, we need a full year. We need a full year for our curriculum. Why are we doing this? So what's the benefit of staying in trimesters versus going to semesters and having the full length of a curriculum full year?
You're saying
What's
with
the
the-
difference between semester and trimester
Well,
with the full year class?
Trimesters would allow you to run elective courses for only 13 weeks instead of 20 weeks or 19, 20 weeks. So some of your elective classes that don't need a full semester, you could then run in a trimester setting still, because electives don't have a set curriculum that has to be covered. So that allows you, that still allows you more options while still going back to the 6-hour knot.
But if we're increasing core requirements for graduation, how is that going to affect the extracurricular curriculum and students' ability to take that? Especially if they're involved in band, how will that be affected? Was that looked at?
So with the extra hour in the day, I think that takes care
It
of
would
it.
help,
It
yeah.
gives them another
It
elective.
gives them another option.
They're not stuck with no elective except for band. And the
It gives them a little more of an elective options, because now, right now, in a 5-hour day, they really allow freshman year is,
one
I mean,
elective.
yeah, is really
For
tight.
band.
Maybe one elective and if they're in band, or if you have gym, it's hard to even fit all of that in there, so, it will give them an extra elective that they could have.
And the only reason that it's the 1.5 credits is because we decided when we went to trimesters that a trimester was half a credit. Normally, you give half a credit for a semester, but because of, I mean, I wasn't part of it, but because of it, it was just that was what they did, so it's really not extra credits, it's just the way we did it. When we did it the .33, it would just be 1 full credit.
But how does the state allow us to consider that a half credit
I don't,
per trimester?
my understanding is that it's up to the local school district on how that
As
works and
long
what
as
your
we meet
graduation.
the graduation requirements, as long as the curriculum's being covered. So how we label it and how we run it is up to us. They give us some flexibility, not much, but that is.
And going to semester, going to a full year, just doing rough math, would be equivalent to some, if you went to a full year, it'd be equivalent of about 15 hours total more. If they went to full year compared to what they're on right now on trimester, 75 minutes a day. So I would say that's pretty insignificant. 15 hours isn't that much considering a whole year.
2 other questions.
Are you saying 15 additional hours?
Yeah, total.
So teachers and staff would be there 15 additional hours? Is that what you're saying?
No, student contact time for that core class would be a 15
Yeah, for a full
additional
year.
total hours for the year, as opposed to what they're currently.
Instead of 2 trimesters, having it for the.
So it'd be like 5 extra hours a trimester.
Yeah,
There you go.
But if we add a 6th hour, that extends the day.
No.
no, we're shortening
The
the
classes
classes.
will be short.
Okay.
Okay.
So 2 questions on that. Number 1, going to the 6 hours with the 3 trimesters. Number 1, does it lower class sizes? Because that's a big complaint right now, that the classes are so big. And what does that do with the staffing, the personnel?
You'll end up eliminating some staff.
So it will be eliminated, but will the
They'll
class
be
size?
teaching 5 hours instead of 6.
Okay.
Class sizes are, if you look at the extra data that you were given, with class sizes and numbers, we're not over in class sizes. And Mr. Saylor, he's not here, but we had a discussion, and I hate to speak for him, but he even went through and combined classes like Kennedy Truman for the 2nd trimester with the numbers he had, and found that still probably we're not meeting 30 a class in 70% of our classes.
Okay. And I'm assuming that some
I
of
mean,
it,
that's at the high school level, I can't.
that's what I'm
speak for the
talking about,
elementary.
well,
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about with this.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that other 30% is gonna be some of the classes like band.
Correct, he
Is
said,
that-
that's exactly what he
those
said,
kind of
band, it's, for some reason, health and gym seems to be larger, because it's tended that failure rate is higher there, those kinds of classes.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions on 1 and 2? I mean, do we need more information? Are we willing to move forward on?
I got a question, so on 2, you're saying, go ahead and start it at both high schools this fall, correct?
Well, we haven't got to the part about going to one high school, but I mean, they're separate proposals. So whether, my understanding, whether we're in one high school or in two high schools, there's a proposal to go to 6 hours
Yes.
and increase graduation rates, whether we close a high school or not.
Yes.
Is that correct?
They're independent.
And both high schools would both be open next year, even if in the next
Thank you.
phase, you were going to close a high school. So
Correct.
therefore,
Correct.
you would have to go to a 6-period day in both buildings to make it even across the board, to give the kids all of the same opportunities that they otherwise would not have.
Okay.
And there's been a lot of discussion over my 5 years about semesters and trimesters and curriculum and delayed curriculum and all these things. And I'm going to tell you this. We have followed the protocol that's been set down by the Board of Education in every single thing that has been offered or considered or piloted. We have had SCT meetings, we've had building leadership team meetings. We have met and met and met and met. We have voted. Everybody's had a stake in it. We have done due diligence on everything that's there. Our curriculum book is comprehensive. The things that we already have in place, that we have the curriculum for, and that we are ready to go for, we have everything that we need. We put out to every teacher in every building, do you have what you need? And if anything is not being met, it actually comes to my office, and we make sure that everybody has every single thing that they need. Going to a 6-period day, having a 5-block, the kids need more electives. And part of the survey that was asked by the community, what do you want? I take my kids to another district because they have more elective opportunities. You can only have more elective opportunities if you have more time in your day. How you divide the 40 weeks of the school year it's of none effect. It doesn't matter. If you divide it in thirds or you divide it in half, you still have 40 weeks. When you have trimesters, forget the division. If you have a 6-period day, you have more opportunities for students. And that was, I believe, the point
Yes.
of considering going to a 6-period day for the kids. So instead of 15 offerings during the school year, they have 18 offerings. And so now you've increased their electives.
So is going to 6 hours and increasing graduation rate tied together? Do
Well,
they have to
you
go together?
have to account for that time,
Okay.
Mr. Riley. So if a kid is taking 6 periods or 6 classes during a school day, and there's credit that's tied to that, you have to give them credit for that. You have to say, now, you had the opportunity to get, 4 credit hours or 4 credits for this trimester. And so then if you have to add them all up, times 4, I mean, it's pretty simple math, because I'm not a good math person, so you've got to then say to graduate, because every unit of time has to be accounted for that the students have.